Today is August 15th, 2021, and it's time for episode 13 of Pineapples and Thorns. Today we're talking about Clash disillusionment and burnout, along with balancing changes and what we hope to see from the game this fall. Hello and welcome to the show. Today we have Peter and Rusty with us. Unfortunately, Butters could not be with us today. Hi, Peter.
3 more for the good guys.
Hey, Rusty.
Hey, guys. I don't have any fancy thing to say, sorry.
Speaking of Butters, Rusty, do you know the difference between Butters and a unicorn?
No? What's that?
One is a magical creature found in Miss P's dreams, and the other is just a unicorn.
Oh my God. Oh, well.
We hope you come back to us soon, Butters.
We miss you. So as of this recording, I'm going to just update everybody on a little bit on the Town Hall 14 CFF League that we're doing. We're about halfway through the league season, and right now, as of this recording, the Knights of Zion are on top spot, followed closely by Carl's Rejects, Ultimate Heroes, Yak on My Unicorn, Jericho Rising, and Filthy Tryhards. Old Kids on the Block, Hive, and Eden's Edge. So everybody's really, really close together. It's super close, and it's anyone's guess as to who's going to take that title. It's been a lot of fun, though.
It's really good. It's fun.
Yeah, we had a bye this week, and next week we are facing off against Carl's Rejects. So we're looking forward to that.
Absolutely. I think there's some congratulations in order, Rusty, for Noble Hero and their SCWL outcome. Could you tell us a little bit about this past season?
Yeah, I don't actually recall off the top of my head. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that, for Noble Hero.
You promoted to Champs 3.
Yeah, we have been running just basically all 14s. I think this one we actually had Tony in with his 13 just because we only had 14 14s and we needed a 15th account. But Tony spent the whole week hitting up for 2 and he didn't get tripled every day. So, I mean, that was awesome, yeah. And yeah, we plugging along, pushing. It's pretty good. It's the only way you can actually, in my opinion, have fun doing CWL or SCCWL is to just be running a clan with full max accounts or 14s. But yeah, I mean, it is what it is at this point, right? So that's sort of why Noble's decided to do like I wouldn't say serious push, but serious enough.
We agree.
The most serious non-war clan, as Noble always likes to call ourselves. So yeah, just trying to go because we were stuck in limbo, sort of. If we were running like all the accounts, it was like one season you're up, the next one you're down, and this has been either, I think we've done it 3 or 4 months now, and we've either been promoted or stayed the same. We haven't had any issues with anything like that, so it's been good.
That's awesome. And how about KGH? Refer
to my previous comments. Up 1 month, down the next. It's we're not running full max there, and we hit above our weight. We punch above our weight, so we get promoted the 1 month, and then we end up going against a whole bunch of higher levels, and we lose, and so it is what it is. But it's okay. It's fine, I guess. I don't despise it like I used to, but
it's really tough with the mixed breakdowns, isn't it? Yeah, it's not very even.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess for those that aren't in KGH, we do split up so that our lowers go elsewhere, and we just run, the 15V instead of a 30, and we just run with as heavy as we can. Usually just 14s, 13s, and 12s. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of like, I don't mind SCCWL anymore. I don't look forward to it, but I don't despise it, so it's okay.
The medals are so valuable. That's really, really the reason why we all want them. How about RT Cat? Will you give us the update there?
Well, we had got bumped back down into Masters 1 last month, which was kind of disappointing for us, but we pulled it together, and thanks to OP organization team, we were successful in getting back to Champs 3. So congrats to everyone and great teamwork.
Yeah, great job.
Excellent. And I have one bit of news from the CFF. We are running a Trojan War that will be spinning on, or we're going to war on August 27th. And everyone is going to attack within the last hour of war. So we're looking for more signups. Just pop into the CFF server, click on that hidden horse, and get signed up.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a lot of fun. So I'm excited for it for sure. Anyways, I actually had a question for you, Kat. I was curious about the Party King skin. Did you buy it?
I did not.
You didn't buy it. Why not? You
I-
don't want to let Butters down?
It's too expensive.
Oh, okay. No,
$13.99 Canadian is a little bit too pricey.
that's fair. Yeah, that's pretty steep for just like something that actually doesn't benefit the game, especially when they've had so many other good packs out with so much beneficial stuff for the same price or cheaper, right? So
Exactly.
no, that makes sense. And have you guys been buying any of the deals that are out there, like the Book of Everything and the hero books and stuff? Anything like that?
I bought some of the, smaller packages with I think there was like some blue potions. And if I see a book of heroes, you kind of have to buy that, because you can use it on your pets.
Yeah, I know.
Exactly.
But
I know I'm starting to get to the point where now I'm reliant upon my pets, whereas like originally I was like, oh, it's not a big deal if they're down because I'm not used to them, and now I am. And now that they're getting to be all very high level, like I got a couple of them maxed and working on the others, now I'm like, oh, I don't want to just put it down and wait. I'm waiting until I get those books and hammers and stuff for it. So
yeah, here's a question for you, Rusty. Which pet can you not be without? If you could only have one of the pets.
if I had to pick one, I like Lassie. Just any chance you can get an extra defense down. I mean, like the unicorn's nice, but it's not like a full blown healer. So there's been some of my attacks where Lassie has like I always run Lassie with my Royal Champion, and my champ will go down, but then Lassie will still be up and get that last hit or two on like a defense that is like sort of off to the side, and it could make a big difference, especially because like I run dragons a lot and they're big and dumb and slow. So anytime you can get a defense down, it's helpful, right? Because those guys they got a lot of hit points, but they take their time getting anywhere they're going. That's for sure.
Yeah. How about you, Peter?
The owl has saved my butt more times than I can remember in the last little while. So I'm going to go with the owl. That little bit of chain lightning through a storage into the last defense saved me a couple times recently.
Yeah, I almost said owl.
Yeah.
I like the owl.
Yeah, I'm torn between the owl and the yak. Like I maxed my unicorn and my yak is almost maxed. And then I'll be working on the owl. So yeah, those are the two that I'm kind of torn on.
And the yak always with the king?
Yes, yeah. I mean, I probably should look at different combinations, but...
Somebody was running the owl with the king for a little while, because the owl would always hang back.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, with it being an air troop, then of course, the king can't really tank for it in those situations, so the air defense would shoot it down. But that's an interesting concept. We need to play around with them a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that wasn't me. I always run my owl with my warden. I like that because the warden already hangs back, and then the owl hangs back, but yet it hits. I don't know. I like the owl.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you guys want to talk about the balancing changes?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, we just had the balancing changes there, and some of the key things there was the Town Hall 9 dragons got a buff, like pretty significant buff. I don't play Town Hall 9. Do you guys?
I still have a 9. I need to experiment with those. I know in the NDL flyweight war that we're in the middle of right now, there were some pretty successful Town Hall 9 dragon attacks. So to experiment with that.
Yeah. So yeah, because I was wondering about that. Like I was excited when I saw that they were doing that for Town Hall 9, and then I was kind of like, oh man, I don't have a 9 anymore. I had upgraded it. So like, one of those things.
Time to start a new account.
Yeah, I know all of us play is the Max or the Valks got a buff for 14. I haven't used Valks because air has just been so crazy OP these days. Have you guys been experimented with the new Valks?
Not really. I always take one in my blimp, right? But I know there's some people that have been sort of experimenting with, was that attack the Valks? Can't remember.
So what I think the hardest part with the Valks is they're so different than every other troop. They don't really have a good synergy. Like the Hogs and the Miners, right? They became, that for the original hybrid because they kind of travel at the same pace and
Right.
they complement each other. Whereas the Valkyries always seem to just charge out ahead. And so let's say you send Giants with them, they lag behind and the Valkyries chew through everything, but the Giants don't ever really get in front of them. So how do you tank a Valkyrie? And they have decent hit points on their own, but they really are your damage dealers. You want to protect them. So
Yeah, that's true.
it was the frozen redhead attack that I used, and I can't remember now what town hall level that was. And you could protect them with the freezes, but I don't know if that's really viable at town hall 14 yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. I've seen a couple of guys in Noble using them. I think I've talked about it a few podcasts back.
Yeah.
Way pre-buff, and they were still. It was pretty cool. I think that more so there's just no meta or mainstream attack that sort of gained ground and gained traction, where people are really seeing other people doing it and catching on.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would say that's maybe why, but I'm open to it. I mean, other than the fact that I don't really want to spend like 6,000-7,000 DE right now on every single attack because I want to save it for my heroes. But
Right.
other than that, I'm fine with it. So another thing that they updated is the seeking air mine speed, like significantly from 2.5 to 3.5 tiles per second.
Yeah.
I am I'm an air attacker recently, I said. So I've noticed it. I've noticed it with my blimp.
Yeah.
Because recently, specifically, I've been doing with the quad clone for mass drags, but even before that, I was just doing Electron, and so either way, it's still been basically just trying to get the blimp to the town hall. I've been able to protect it still, but I mean, if you're going fully across the base and you don't time it properly, those with your warden ability or whatnot, I've noticed with those bombs, they catch up really, really fast.
It's almost comical, isn't it? For my eye, it just looks like it's running in fast motion. If I'm watching the replay, I think I'm at 2 times or 4 times speed. Just there, boom, right on the blimp. It's amusing, just different than it was.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then also the X-bow range has increased by half a tile. I haven't noticed that myself. I don't know if you guys have. I'm sure I've noticed it in my results, but I haven't noticed it individually in my attacking.
I haven't noticed it, like, it didn't jump out at me.
Yeah, that's sort of what I was meaning. It's not like jumping out, but then if I probably went back and looked on some of my attacks, I'd probably be like, man, I thought that troop wouldn't get hit yet, or especially when you notice things like that when it gets down to if you just have like 1 or 2 troops left and you're hoping that they can clear a defense before they get in range of the X-bow and then get to it.
Right.
That's probably when it's making the biggest difference noticeably.
Yeah, I agree.
It seems like a funny thing, right, to incentivize people to try and use ground and air X-bows when the meta feels like it's moved to air and wasn't everybody already running X-bows that way. I guess maybe it's just a little bit of an attack against the air guys.
Yeah.
A lot of the bases that I've seen had the majority of their defenses for targeting ground, like before dragons sort of came on the scene again. If you don't have your X-bows on air and ground, then how are you going to defend at all? Because
exactly.
Yeah, I think before like the most recent update where they added the new levels to the air defenses, I didn't see a ton of X-bows on grounds at 14 anyways, just because anyone that did would get smushed because defenses hadn't caught up to the new troops. Everyone maxes out these new troops. So in the early stages of 14 there, but now that the air defenses, I'm seeing, I mean, most people that are developing their bases have done the air defenses at this point now. So
yeah, I think things are definitely sort of catching up to defend against air in a lot of ways as best they can. The base builders are trying to figure out ways to trap the core of the base and what have you, prevent blimps from getting the town hall. And
Yeah,
like, I mean, I've always been a ground attacker. Trying to get the hang of some of these air attacks has been a little bit more difficult for me, even though it seems like everybody can triple with their eyes closed lately. But I'm kind of hoping that ground makes a bit of a comeback. So I was always partial to hybrid myself.
yeah. I like air more than ground. I'm just better at ground. If that makes sense. I've always loved air attacks. Like, even I'm talking like 5-6 years ago plus, when I was playing, I was always
Mhm.
farming with like loons and doing war attacks with drags, like, and loons, like, and all that. And yeah, I feel like I get better results.
Yeah.
Up until recently with ground, a lot of bowler and witch combos. Bow witch got so strong so fast, it just basically took over that.
Yeah.
When you saw an old base, you knew you could just smash it. So I would always just rely on ground. But yeah, I think that we're gonna see probably see hybrid back a bit, like you're hoping, Kat, because you like it.
So I think now we're going to sort of get a little bit more serious and deep dive into a question from a listener who plays at Town Hall 14. Peter, do you want to take over here?
Yeah, and they wrote us a really thoughtful DM in the CFF server, and just lamenting the fact that they're really disenchanted with the game. They've actually taken a small break from the game. They're doing special events, but just not going through the day-to-day grind of not having success. We can run through his post, or you know what, maybe we'll just touch on the highlights. He's basically suffering from somewhat of a disillusionment and a little bit of burnout because the meta has moved away from ground. And I don't think it's the fact that they're not interested in trying to learn. They talked about watching their clanmates' attacks and not being able to duplicate what they're doing, and not through lack of trying. It sounds like they really are trying to be better, or to have success again. And some of the things are, when we got the original update after Town Hall 14 drop, was mostly on hero support, right? We got a level of healers,
Right.
I can't think of all of them right now, but then eventually it came to the air troop update, and I think every air troop got an upgrade, and we got the Dragon Rider,
Yeah.
and that really, I think, is the biggest one.
Yeah, because I mean, we got the new level of loons, drags, and electro drags at the exact same time. Just like, boom, here you go.
Yeah. Have fun with that.
And we didn't really have anything to counter it, right? Their main army, right?
Yeah.
Used to be like Kill Squad hogs, but that's Kill Squad is done.
No, you can only have your main army going after it if you're just trying to get two, because otherwise you're going to take so much damage, even on the tankiest troops.
Yeah. You can just watch their health decline as they sit in that cloud. And it's just like, oh gosh, there goes my army.
And I think after Town Hall 14 drop, we had that one balancing change. I think they ramped up how quickly the damage occurred from the poison, which right now, in hindsight, seems excessive.
Yeah. Personally, I'd like to see that nerfed a little bit. I think it's too strong.
I selfishly would like to, but I also think that triples at 14 are prevalent enough that I'd be really scared if they did.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But like I said, I don't know I'd like it, man. I'm sick of watching my troops just disintegrate at the town hall. I know that. It sure feels like when people are attacking me that it's not happening the same way, but
Yeah. I think that's just all perception, right?
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
The other thing this listener mentioned was the fact that we can now copy bases, and base copying is so prevalent.
Oh, yeah.
We have a base sharing channel in Redthorn server, and there's one, it's got to be one in the CFF server. I just haven't found it. So
It's so easy to get decent bases now. You can just go on YouTube and type in Town Hall 14 bases, and you get all these different. There's people that that's all they do is they post links for war bases and legend bases.
and to a greater or lesser extent, we've seen a whole lot of bases constantly through the esports
Yes.
market, right? We see new bases all the time from those guys.
Yeah.
And I think they're quickly shared, and they're quickly, they're ahead of the meta. Or I guess they can't be ahead of the meta, but they're countering the meta that day.
Yes.
Yeah, agreed.
And the last thing, of course, is YouTubers out there are not showcasing ground attacks. Again, the Dragon Riders were the sexy new troop. That's the one.
Mhm.
It's almost like a mandate came down from Supercell to say, hey, showcase these troops. everything has been air. Even the guys that are all about, he says, I'm sorry, this is not it's another air attack, but you got to try it. It's so strong. This is what we got to do. So
Well, it's just people like throwing out these crazy comps. So what was that one that you were showing us? There was like 4 hounds and
right, trample damage, and it's been picked up by some of the bigger YouTubers. Had 5 hounds and 6 dragon riders, and that was the whole army. He has and then 9 lightning spells. You zap out 3 air defenses, take the 4th with your king queen RC if you have to, and then the hounds tank like golems would. They just move from defense to defense. They're not going to the air defense.
Yeah.
I've had so much luck with that. It's been ridiculously fun for me.
And do the hounds stay in front of the dragon riders? Like, are they faster?
To a greater or lesser extent, yes. Because they park over top of the defense while the dragon rider hangs back whatever it is, 3 or 4 tiles, and shoots its fireball. So they're always kind of ahead of them.
Yeah, and I guess then you're just relying on pups for cleanup.
And pups for cleanup. So he's now adjusted, and I have 2. I'm running about 10 minions. I've dropped 1 hound, so I'm only running only 4 hounds. An ice golem to help my king queen hero dive. It's silly, but it's fun. You got to think it through.
this will tell you how bad I am at air, is that I cannot get that attack to work. So I've tried.
I haven't even tried that one. Do you guys remember, this is just a random thought I had, there was an attack, I think it was when Town Hall 12 was maybe the highest Town Hall. It was like a 7 hound attack or something like that with,
Oh my gosh.
I can't even remember what it was, but it was right, yes, it was 12, and it was like 7 hounds and then like all bat spells or something like that. I don't know. Something's triggering in my brain. I don't really remember,
Yeah.
but I sort of do. Yeah,
Yeah, I vaguely remember that one.
something like that.
Yeah, because bats were just so OP that you could just kind of throw something out there. And then as long as you had something distracting the splash damage, you were good to go.
Yeah. And so, anyways, I'm really good at sidetracking us. Let's carry on.
No, and I think that's a good point. I really wasn't an air attacker before this, let's call it the meta change. I'm a ground fella. I liked witches. I liked bowlers. Super wizards, whatever it was, kind of the next flavor.
Mm-hmm.
But at some point, it has to end, right? They're going to do the update. They're going to bring on level for miners and hogs. It's going to come.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, feels like the hog levels are just like, I like hogs as much as the next guy. I've never been a huge hog attacker, but it feels like I don't like hogs as much as Supercell likes hogs. Like, I remember, I'm old man speaking here, when hogs like max was 5. It was like, oh, you got level 5 hogs, like, man, those are sweet. Now it's like next time you turn around, they're gonna be like level 14 or something like that.
What were you using at Town Hall 9 then? If you can remember back to Town Hall 9.
What was I using at Town Hall 9?
Yeah, I mean, that's really when my...
Hogs.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I was using hogs.
Yeah.
And then, CC bowlers and witches when that came out too. First time through, I was using hogs and dragons because I switched. Like, I mean, that's what you use at 8, or used to anyways, back in the day when, like, my first account going up through the game. It was always dragons and hogs, depending on what the base depended on.
Yeah.
It was, if it wasn't a drag base, I did hogs. If it wasn't a hog base, do drags. The Asian wall hogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a big one.
Yeah, there sure is a lot more variety now, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that used to just be you drag your finger across the screen to deploy all your hogs after you've gotten to the point you needed to, right?
That's right.
So I guess, what are our thoughts on Clash Burnout? Rusty, have you seen any of this expressed in either KGH or Noble Hero?
I saw this part that he asked, and I was thinking about it, and it's really hard for me to determine on the Clash Burnout just because we're in like the middle of summer, and summer's always a slowdown, it seems like to me. Especially, we really notice it in Noble, that clan activity just, it takes a dive every summer.
Yeah.
And then it ramps back up again. So I don't think that there's been burnout overwhelmingly in Noble because it's been so many people were sitting maxed for so long. I think people are just pumped that there's still new stuff. Unless you're spending gems, you're not done your upgrades yet. Like, you haven't caught up on all the upgrades. So there's still like just a lot of new stuff for people there. KGH, I sort of seems like business as usual, but that's such a wide variety of town halls. Like we're talking just Town Hall 14 Burnout, I guess, right?
More or less, yeah.
I'm not really noticing. It's me and a couple others that are 14 in KGH. So
I mean, there are like some lower town hall folks that have kind of expressed their dismay at just like, they look at what it takes to get to be a max 14 and maybe they're sitting down at town hall 10. And it's just,
yeah, Butters.
yeah, poor Butters. It's a little daunting for them, I think.
Hmm.
So,
Oh yeah, it really is.
I mean, even though with the gold pass and the different offers and the medals, it's still, I'm working on a 13 and a 12. And it's just, and I'm thinking, do I go up to 14 once I'm done my 13? And just kind of like, you kind of sit there and go, oh, do I really want to do this?
But is that because you don't want to farm it, or you just know it's a big thing? I mean, what else?
Yeah.
Like to me, Clash Burnout is I don't want to play anymore, right? And I think it's when the guy says, I can't 3-star, I gotta quit.
Yeah.
And that's the hard thing to hear. It's because although the game is important, the grind of trying to get your base max is,
Yeah.
some of the fun, right? It's a building game.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I know that we see a few people, like there's been a couple of people in Redthorn that have just recently just told me to boot their accounts because they're not playing anymore. They've lost interest in the game. Whether they'll be back or not, I don't know. But then there's also people coming back to the game because they're kind of excited about, the new things, the new toys, the new troops.
Yeah, I've seen some people coming back for sure.
I mean, we were an awful long time at Town Hall 13, it felt like.
They sure did.
Like everybody was maxed with DE, right? And they were saying, oh, we need something to spend our DE on. And I think Supercell listened to that, and Town Hall 14 certainly let us spend our DE.
Yeah.
They sure did.
Yeah, or I think maybe I'll be backed up on DE by the year like 2023. I think it'll take about that long.
But I think you'll get maxed faster than you realize.
No, I know. Actually, doing pretty decently now. Now it's just the constant grind of waiting for my books and stuff, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
Because now I'm not wanting to just let the weeks disappear without heroes, or sorry, without the pets.
Yeah.
Now I'm being selective as to when I'm doing it.
Well, and the thing is, like, potions don't work on that pet house at all.
Yeah.
So, you're forced to use books of heroes if you want to finish them quickly. You can't use those blue potions or the purple potions that work on the lab don't work on the pet house, which I think that needs to be changed personally.
Yeah, agreed.
Supercell may still do that. I think there's still,
Mhm.
and I don't want to call it a money grab, but there's still that incentive to spend your gems to upgrade quicker. All the YouTubers are 3-starring with max heroes and max pets. I think they're still trying to get us to push a little bit to finish off those levels. So it may come where they give us something, but I don't think it'll be this update.
Yeah, but you don't think that they'll maybe give us like a new potion with this coming update in the fall?
No, I think they'll wait till Christmas. Sorry,
That'll be our gift.
that will be our gift.
Yeah, they'll wait. They'll wait until no one needs it,
Yeah.
and then they'll do it.
And again, they're trying to, the people at the top, they're trying to make them spend their gems, spend that little bit of money. Whereas, the new guy, the fella that just pushed the button on 13, from 13 to 14 has a long road to kind of catch up. Those are the people, they're trying to get everybody up to the top. Yeah. Well, we talked about the listener who's been watching 3-star attacks and really can't duplicate them. Kat, you were mentioning before, I've adopted. I was a ground attacker, but I've liked the new meta. It just is.
Yeah.
The couple of attacks have come, relatively easy to me, and of course, success allows for more patience. Rusty, you mentioned the quad clone attack. Can you describe that one a little?
Yeah. So basically, you use your king and your queen to cut a corner off the base, sort of shape it a little bit to funnel your mass troops. I use personally as my actual troops, I use 7 drags and then 12 loons and 4 drag riders. You can always adjust a little bit, especially if you're using it in war. If you see a good spot that might be good to funnel with like an electro drag, you can drop a few loons or something and do an electro drag. But that's sort of like the main there. And then you are bringing all clones and one rage, and then you're in your CC. You're asking, so you're bringing 3 of your own clones and a rage, and then in your CC you're asking for another clone. You are bringing just all 9 balloons and a blimp, and just you cut that corner with your heroes. Then you get down your main troops, all your drags, then the loons with the drag riders behind it, and then you throw down that blimp and you throw down your warden, and just as your blimp's about to leave the range, you use your tome, get the blimp all the way to the town hall, and drop your rage just shy and your clones, and about 6,000 balloons appear and destroy a very large portion of the base. And I mean, then you use the Royal Champ back end to take out some defenses, and it doesn't feel like it should work as good as it does. And it just every time, because you're so focused on watching all these crazy loons and everything, you sort of forget about, you're like, oh man, I don't know, like, can 7 dragons really take out a whole base of a 14? But like, they don't have to. So because the loons do so much, so there's a lot of buildings that are still up, but the loons just take out a bunch of defenses.
Right.
Every now and then you'll lose a very, very large portion of your loons that you've cloned to the bomb, the poison bomb. But
Right.
if you don't drop all of your clones in the exact same spot, you can generally get them to shoot a little bit of a ways away and stuff. So yeah, I don't know, it works pretty good, especially with those tanky drag riders.
Yeah.
They seem to clear up any other defenses that are still up, and the dragons themselves just do the cleanup essentially.
Have you had success with that one, Kat?
I was using that for a little bit and was not having a lot of success with it. I've kind of made up my own comp, my own army here. What I do is I take 12 loons, 9 dragons, 2 E-drags, 6 lightning, 2 rage, and freeze, and then Yeti bomb in a blimp.
Mhm.
What I'm doing with that comp is I'm zapping ADs and defenses close to the town hall. If I get really lucky, I hit a base where they put all the ADs together.
Oh,
And I
yes.
can get all 4. I got one of those this
Yeah.
morning, and it was really nice.
Woo!
And I've been tripling fairly consistently with it. So then I'll, blimp the town hall, and then I'll send the rest of my stuff in on the other side of the base. And it works pretty well.
And have you used that one in war yet?
No,
Okay.
not yet. I do need to try that.
And then how about the queen charge into dragon riders? Are you guys using that one? That one seems to be the one the pros like.
Not me, because I'm not a pro.
Neither am I, but I do like to play around with queen charges. So I should try that one.
Speaking of the pros, I think that can lead to some of the burnout too.
Mhm.
I think there's a bounty on just about every esports thing about the most creative attack.
Oh, yeah.
And these guys come up with some crazy comps. And, I watch them because I'm interested, right? Trying to support the community. But at some point I go, God, they can 3-star with level 7 goblins and, the queen and 5 healers. And I can't 3-star with a full army. And that it comes discouraging for me.
Yeah.
And so I've actually stopped watching the esports stuff.
What was that one a few weeks ago? One of the guys had done an attack. It was a Lalo, and he basically swagged all of his loons because he.
On the main portion of the attack is what he swagged, right?
Yeah,
Like the loons is like,
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy.
he didn't even move his loons. He took out almost the entire base with queen charge and his hounds and what have you. But it was. Oh, and there was like 9 lightning spells or something.
I mean, it's incredible. But in their defense, right, this is what they're doing, right? They're cracking bases, and they saw that vulnerability in it, and it worked really well for them. And we may never see that exact kind of setup in the wild. It's very hard to compare a war attack by those guys to, what I'm trying to do in Legends, where you just 30 seconds to plan and go. It's tricky. It's tricky to compare.
But I think that possibly some of the pressure that people put on themselves too is they might be, watching the various YouTube videos by the content creators, and, they're seeing these attacks, and, it looks so easy when these guys do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe they're watching the streams where the pros are doing these attacks, and everything just looks amazing. And then they go to try it and they fail and they fail and fail. And so they're putting all that pressure on themselves
Yes.
to triple, and they feel like, well, these guys are doing it, but why can't I do it? Because everything's supposed to be so OP. And a lot of the clips that you see on YouTube, can't fail attack, Town Hall 14 is broken. And really, it's for the average player, it's not broken. It's still difficult.
Very much.
No, but I mean, these guys got to get clicks on their videos too. So
That's right. It's clickbait, but still, it's if you're a person that maybe you were doing really well at Town Hall 13 and you figure, okay, I've got this down, and then you get all these different troops and what have you at 14. You're frustrated because you can't make things work. Is that causing some burnout as well and disenchantment with the game?
Absolutely agree.
You know?
Yeah. And it's not because they can't, it just they haven't adapted as quick as some, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And not everybody is an air attacker, right? It's some of us prefer ground. And ground just isn't in vogue at the moment. It'll come back, like you said, Peter. I think it's definitely gonna get buffed again because Supercell seems to do that. They encourage people to use air because they want to see more different air attacks, and then they'll swing back and sort of encourage people to go back to ground.
I'm sure Supercell will just give us another level of a P.E.K.K.A. and try and be like, hey guys, come on, we know you love P.E.K.K.A.s.
You're like, go away, let's go.
It seems like anytime the ground needs fixing, the Supercell is just like, hey, P.E.K.K.A. level, boom, here you go.
Yeah.
That seems, I mean, not as much these days anymore, but that used to be the go-to move.
That may be their answer to that super strong Giga Poison. No, the P.E.K.K.A. I think could survive. Just they walk so slow.
And it does say butterfly. You have it in your army camp.
Yeah.
Have you heard that? Do you play with the sound on? If you have a P.E.K.K.A. in your army camp, it walks around going butterfly.
But in like a metallic robot voice.
Yeah.
I do not play with the sound on, so I don't know. I haven't heard that.
When I first heard it, I thought my kids were trolling me.
Oh, no doubt.
I said, what did you say?
Yeah.
So what did you say? They said I didn't say anything. I said, yeah, you just said something. I heard it. No, I didn't say anything. And then the game said it again. Butterfly. Too funny.
Do we know what they're actually saying? Like what the noise is supposed to be, or is it truly the word butterfly?
It is truly the word butterfly.
And it's following a butterfly out of the army camp.
Yeah, it chases it around.
Oh.
Like the P.E.K.K.A. is not where it's supposed to be. Yeah, it's a game within a game.
Rusty's going to cook some P.E.K.K.A.s now.
Find the P.E.K.K.A.
I 100% am going to. Yeah, I definitely going to do that because I just once I want to hear this butterfly.
So beyond nerfing the poison, what else do you think they could do to make that Town Hall 14, that Giga Poison, not so lethal to whatever's there?
That's a
Is it just troop levels?
I guess it's sort of a nerf, but I was gonna say maybe smaller, like radius of affected area. But I guess that'd be a nerf, so it doesn't really count. And I'm not answering what you asked.
Well, no, that I meant more like the damage amount. So yeah, the area makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, keep the damage amount the same, well, yeah, I know. I don't know. I was just thinking maybe limit it to the number of troops that it could actually apply the damage to, like kind of like a multi-inferno.
Right.
It
Yeah.
has so many beams, but if you've got 40 troops attacking it, it doesn't have 40 beams.
right.
I don't know.
Makes sense.
But again, that's a nerf to it. So
Yeah.
yeah, troop levels, I guess. But I mean, you can't make the whole point is that thing is supposed to wreak havoc on your troops. Otherwise, if you make it so that your balloons can withstand that thing, then no other defenses are going to be able to take down your balloons.
Unless they give us another level on heal, and then you can sort of
Counter the effect. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
mitigate. Yeah, mitigate.
yeah, maybe you could heal through it. Yeah, that's not bad.
Because then it would force you to take a spell specifically for that, which would.
At least it would be an option.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I wondered if we could delay the drop. I mean, it already is a bit of a delay, right? The Town Hall goes down, it's almost like 1,001,
Right.
and then the poison kicks in.
Mhm.
Maybe they could give us 1,002 and let us run away a little bit more.
It would be nice if the troops could actually move out of the poison spell instead of sitting in it.
Is there any time between that drop to drop a invisible spell on top of it after the Town Hall goes down, but before the bomb goes off?
Would that affect your troops? Like making them invisible, I don't think would allow them to avoid the poison spell.
Yeah, they're just not targeted, but they still can take damage, I think. So, yeah, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
I was just sort of thinking out loud there. wishful thinking.
So the listener who wrote in, he would very much like to see witches buffed for Town Hall 14.
Oh man, this is where we need Butters right now.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of rumblings about bowlers. Bowlers have become kind of a non-used troop, right? We have Super Wiz that are that chain damage.
Right.
And so bowlers seem to have, I still think they have their uses. They're just not
Yeah,
the bulk of the army anymore. What would you guys like to see?
I'd like to see. I love bowlers. I'd like to see a bowlers buff.
Yeah, they haven't done anything with bowlers for quite a while.
Yeah,
I don't even know too many people use them at 14 that much anymore.
Yeah, they're too squishy almost, right?
Yeah, I mean, they're still pretty effective, but it's just you don't see them used. But I'd like to see miners and hogs. I think tell moving towards like, of course, my hybrid. But and I think I've heard a rumor that we're supposed to be getting a new level on miners in the fall update. So that would be nice.
yeah. The miners thing though, like I'm looking forward to that too. But I just can't see a situation where they make it so miners can withstand that town hall bomb.
No, I think it's
So it's the same problem, right?
yeah. You'd still have to, either Sui or Queen charge the town hall. Maybe do a Yeti bomb hybrid type of thing. And I've seen people do that with some success.
Yeah, in the right situation on the right base, they can still make that work.
On the right base, always the right base, right?
Yeah, always. Yes.
Yeah, there's always an attack to 3-star at every base. It's just who can recognize what attack it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
I'm not that good at it, unless it's blatantly obvious. But by then, usually other people have already figured it out too.
The whole Town Hall 14, I really didn't like that we had to upgrade our barracks because, again, I think I might have just hammered one of them, and then to get Dragon Riders, of course, and then there was that painful, I guess it was 6 weeks where I was upgrading each barracks individually, and of course the build times for armies was incredibly long. I get up early, so I get a little time in the morning, and I could only get 2 attacks in the morning, where before the update, let's say I could get 4 in. I'm in Legends, I'm talking. And so it became really now a struggle to get my Legends hits in because the armies take so darn long to build. So how did you guys handle the barracks upgrades?
Let's see. I think I had some medals. And so, yeah, it was just like hammer, at least to get 2 of them done, and then blue potions.
Yeah, I used books and hammers exclusively on my barracks.
All of them?
I just didn't do them unless I had a book or hammer kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I guess it made Dragon Rider cooking quite slow at first, but I wasn't using them for anything other than war. So, because I'm not in Legends, I just farm. So, anytime I knew I would need them, maybe I'd burn a green potion or something to speed it up if I needed to. But other than that, no.
But that's the thing also is like I noticed without Gold Pass, and oh my gosh, if you had a barracks now, cooking those Dragon Riders, it was like brought me back to the days when a golem took 2 hours to cook or something stupid.
Yes. Exactly. It was terrible.
Yeah.
2-hour army cook times.
Well, yeah, 45 minutes per golem or hound or whatever. Yeah. Dragons were like half an hour.
Yeah, they need to.
It was back in the day when you could when you could boost just one of your barracks.
Yes.
So you'd cook like 3 golems in like one of them, and then and then you'd boost the one, and you'd cook the rest of your troops in that 45 minutes, where your golems are each cooking for 45 minutes in the other one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that. I think they definitely need to tweak that cooking time on the Dragon Riders. It's way too long.
Yeah, now that the barracks are done, it's not so bad, but certainly initially it was very painful.
But without the Gold Pass, as you progress through the Gold Pass, it eases up
to 20%. Yeah.
Yeah, that's huge. On my accounts that I don't have the Gold Pass on, it's like I'm waiting for troops to cook, and even a barb takes longer. It's just like, come on, cook faster.
Yeah, that 20% is huge.
I'm not sure they're going to change that though, right? Because that really is a Town Hall 14 or Town Hall 13, 14 problem, right? With how big our armies are. Because Town Hall 9, it's still, I think 240 troop space. So, 280 is quite a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they're going to really adjust that too much.
I see no scenario where they adjust it and make it faster, to be honest with you. I don't see it happening.
No, because that's an encouragement for people to buy the Gold Pass, right? Because these are some of the perks that you get out of it.
Absolutely.
So do we want to just move on and talk about the fall update then?
I think so.
So looking at the fall update, I'm probably going to see it dropping sometime. I don't see it much before like early September. They're talking about another level on expos and bomb towers, sweepers, and possibly upgrades to bowlers, witches, and miners and hogs. Super Wiz have almost made bowlers not a useful troop. Basically, both can do chain damage. Super Wiz just feels hardier and stronger. If you could have one thing in the update, what would you have, Peter?
Well, I would still like that pet potion. I don't think my wish is going to come true this time.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think you're right. What about you, Rusty?
Well, I didn't know that I wanted this until we just talked about it. I want bowlers. Bowler buff.
Super bowlers?
Yeah, something.
Super bowlers. Okay, what do you see for that?
Oh man, that would be pretty fancy.
Yeah. What would a super bowler do, Rusty?
I don't know. Maybe just like maybe they're like the big giant bowler, big and tall, and does more damage, but does the same thing. I don't just destroys buildings in less shots or something.
Kind of like a super whip.
It's like they're throwing like a big boulder instead of a smaller rock.
3 or 4 bounce. Yeah.
Maybe the boulder goes across the base or something. Yeah, like sort of like the log launcher. The super bowler might be able to roll his bowler most of the way across.
Ooh, yeah, I like it. I like it. Yep.
Because they're due for another super troop, aren't they?
I think we are.
Should we do predictions? Peter, you're pretty accurate on your predictions. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't want to go against Peter. He's always right.
I still think because of how much people love hogs, I really think Super Hog will be the next thing.
Yeah.
And I have had discussions with other people, and I think about a stealth hog, something coming in like the Sneaky Goblin, where the hog gets a couple of running steps before the defenses can track onto it. Something like that. To keep with that jungle theme.
Maybe a hog glider.
Yeah, I think Hog Glider is going to be the hog one.
Okay.
We've talked about this before, have we not? I feel like we did.
But we have.
Yes, we have.
I'm still sticking with the Hog Super Troop. Come on, I mean Builder Base is OP, right? So they gotta stick with their true calling with Builder Base and bring over that Hog Glider.
We'll see. How about you, Kat? What do you think?
Well, what do you think? It's we've seen the weaponized builder huts. What can they weaponize next? The army camps? Maybe the little campfire in the middle of the army camp blows up.
The fire does actual damage.
That could be.
I like it.
Oh man, then just everything's gonna be a defense. Like
The walls, they have lava throwing through them. Yeah.
There was some talk when the Dragon Rider barrack came, right? It had that little dragon head on. Some people thought that might be shooting fireballs. So
And actual bear.
I'm going to say weaponized barracks. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we'll see if any of us are right.
Well, I have the last thing to say. So lastly, I just wanted to point out that the listener who wrote in does indeed buy the gold pass. So they're not suffering from a lack of progress in the game, right? They're not dwindling behind any more than the rest of us, right? Just through the grind.
Right.
They're just really lamenting the fact that the game has moved out of their comfort zone, and they're ready for a change, and they don't think they're alone. And after listening to you guys, I tend to agree that they are not alone in their discontentment.
Rusty, how about you? Do you have any final comments on it?
I think we covered most of how I feel and everything about it. I don't know. I hope that, and I trust Supercell will do something. I don't know what it exactly will be, but hopefully it's solved sooner than later.
Okay. So for me, it seems like Supercell needs to take a step back and reconnect with their general player base. They appear to be quite caught up in the demands of the pro side of Clash of Clans, and the average player is being left behind. I hope that the minds in charge over at Supercell slow things down a bit. Just give the average players time to catch up to the various metas. It's not just about maxing the base. We all need time to experiment with the various troops and learn how to use them.
Absolutely.
So now it's time for shoutouts. Peter, do you have any shoutouts?
I do. I got a DM from Imsom. He was listening to the last episode with Hal and Rand and blah blah, and he said the name Hal was trying to remember was Spancer, the guy that stole all the code. So thanks to Imsom for Spancer. And I have a picture of his Unbreakable achievement. Imsom has got the Unbreakable achievement, 5,000 defenses. So He says, I've been playing for almost 8 years. You'll end up getting it sooner or later. So shout out to Insom. Way to go.
It's amazing. It's the first person I know who's gotten it. Then like I know nobody else.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I've never seen anybody else have it, and if I remember, because he was in Noble for a while, I think I'm remembering this correctly. He was basically just dropping down like as low as possible, as low as absolutely humanly possible in terms of trophy wise, to get those defenses, because people would again just be trying to dump trophies on him as well too, right? So you get the defense.
Right.
Because if you're a 11 or 12 and you're down at like 200 trophies, like the bases that match you are also 11s and 12s that are trying to stay down that low for whatever reason. But I mean that's a tricky thing to do, because you'll log on and you're like plus 500 trophies in like 3 hours, right?
It's an amazing achievement.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rusty, how about you? Do you have any shout-outs?
Yeah, I've got a couple shout outs. I'd like to shout out, first of all, Red Hills Rising. Just went over there and did the tribute war, I guess you could call it, or the war for Kristen and whatnot. So
Right.
Shout out everybody there and everybody that participated.
Here.
Yeah, and then my other shout out would be for KGH's newest co-leader. I don't even know how to pronounce it, but AWOS or AWOS Al-Qaeda or
Yeah.
however. I don't know. I don't know how you pronounce it. Maybe somebody can teach me. But I certainly know that he's a valuable part of the team, and he's hasn't been around long, but he's been deserving for basically every second that he's been in the clan. So happy to have him.
Yeah.
Excellent.
For sure.
Excellent.
And my shout outs, I've got two. I want to shout out Miss P for all the hard work she puts into organizing the various CFF events. She does an amazing job, so I want to shout her out.
Yeah.
And I also want to shout out Sharky, Mountain Shark. He's come back to Clash after a very lengthy break, which needed, and crushing it over in KGH again. So glad to see him back. So one thing that I also want to do is introduce and thank our sponsor, because we actually have a sponsor now, Precision Base Building. If you are looking for a great place to buy bases from, check them out. The link to their Discord server will be in our show notes. So thank you everyone for listening. We hope you enjoyed the show. A couple of reminders: if you are a Clash of Clans player and looking for fun, friendly adult community to play the game in, check out the Clash Files family group of clans on Discord at discord.gg/clashfiles. You can also submit your questions to us there or contact us on Twitter at KGH Podcast.